Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna.
Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all glories to the members of the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association, which is expanding on a weekly basis as people continue to become aware of the programs that we are executing according to the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. And I wanted to thank everyone for their participation. We have a group page, if you're familiar with social media, Facebook, called the Prabhupada Disciples Association group page. And that page is being constantly posting a variety of information on many different subjects related to Krishna consciousness, both past and present. And we wanted to thank everyone who is viewing these posts. We started this group a couple of years ago, and now we've now surpassed 18,000 members, and we're moving forward up to 20,000. So this is a progressive development of this particular medium. It's an opportunity for us to provide this information freely on this social media, which is quite valuable in terms of spreading the truth. Because if you want to get information out to people without spending a lot of money, I remember years ago, we used to have a person from India come to Toronto, and he would use our telephone. It was actually Gopal Krishna. And he was acting as a GBC member. And he would come to Toronto and use our telephone at ISKCON Toronto to call around the world. And then at the end of the month, our devotees would have to pay over $2,000 to $3,000 in telephone bills so he could talk on the phone. So it was very expensive. It was actually a hard hit to our budget, but at any rate, nowadays you can use social media like we are with this Zoom call or Zoom class and discussion, and it's a minimal expense compared to that. Same with phone, reaching out with people with a phone, it's a minimal expense compared to the past. And so we're taking advantage of this medium to dovetail it in Krishna's service. This is the idea. And I wanted to mention as well, just on one post alone, we have I put up a post. We have 7,500 views of one post. And I got a report from Facebook that over the last 20 days, I've had over 20,000 views. So it is reaching people throughout the world, and this is a very good thing because the truth should be spoken about the position of Srila Prabhupada in this mission as the bona fide spiritual master for all of us. And that our focus should be on his instructions and his pastimes. And in this way, the aspiring disciple can make advancement in Krishna consciousness. And we wanted to ask everybody here in this group, as they gradually congregate to our program, to please invite other people to join the Hare Krishna Society YouTube page. Yes. We have a YouTube page which has over 270 classes and posts that people can go to. And we're getting information. I had information from our godbrother, Krishna Kata, that a devotee that he knows called him last week and congratulated him for introducing her to our classes and said that she so much appreciated the direction our classes have in terms of reading from Prabhupada's unadulterated, unedited books, and then focusing on the explanations of Srila Prabhupada based on his teachings. Because a lot of people become infatuated with their understanding of this philosophy, which is very advanced by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. But they extrapolate the meaning instead of trying to focus the philosophy on our guru. That is the main thing. We try to represent Srila Prabhupada in his true understanding of Guru Tattva, which is very important. That one has to repeat what his spiritual master has said without interpretation, without change. And this will give some potency to the presentation. Otherwise, if you change, where's the potency? Prabhupada talked about it in a lecture I was listening to in terms of the Bhagavad Gita. What is the value of the Gita when a third-class man gives an interpretation? And every word in the Bhagavad Gita is very valuable. I was thinking recently, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, about the famous verse 434 in the Bhagavad Gita, which we have mentioned over and over again over the last few years. Just try to find out the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Now, Prabhupada doesn't mention in the purport that it is he that is being referred to here. But Prabhupada is the person that we're referring to in that verse that's being referred to. He, the representative of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva was a great literary incarnation of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is representing Srila Vyasadeva in his work in the Krishna Consciousness movement. And therefore, his legacy is being exposed by the great works that he did. The Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, all the different books, Wonder of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the Nectar of Devotion, the Nectar of Instruction. There's actually, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, 132 books that Prabhupada produced during his manifested presence with us. 132. And along with that, volumes of other writings prior to the formation of ISKCON. I have a book that was given to me from Brahmananda when he came to visit my house in 1993, I believe it is, with his brother Gargamuni. And it is all the past editions of Back to Godhead from 1944. Fabulous, fabulous information back then by Srila Prabhupada. And certainly there was no confusion on what he was trying to say. There was no necessity for changing anything. And for anyone that gets an opportunity to read these articles and see the genius of Srila Prabhupada, you can understand how he is the representative of Srila Vyasadeva. He has seen the truth, not they. Just see, you change one word. Just change one word from he to they, and it changes the whole meaning and purpose of that verse. Just one word. We cannot do that. That is a great, and really, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you think about it, by changing from he to they, the reason for it was completely based on material ambition. Prabhupada told us, do not make a trade with Krishna. When he was speaking in the lecture on that, he was saying, don't go into business to preach Krishna consciousness using Krishna as a means for you to earn money. No. We enter into the Krishna consciousness movement and the preaching to simply repeat to others what our spiritual master has taught us. That is the business of the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. Do not change anything. And therefore we're reading from the unedited, unadulterated books, and we're very happy to announce, as you all know, and for those that don't, that we currently are still running a GoFundMe campaign for raising money for printing Prabhupada's books, and the first books that we are moving forward to have printed for everyone. And by the way, anyone that gives a donation to the GoFundMe campaign, as it's still running, and soon we'll finish it, but for now it's still on. Anyone here in this class that sends a donation to the GoFundMe campaign, we will send you the set of Srimad Bhagavatams, the Delhi version, once they're printed, for any amount that you donate. Yes, we will. And that'll be most treasured. I wanted to mention one of our godbrothers, Bhakta Ram Singh, just purchased a set of these books on Amazon, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. And you know how much he paid? $135 US. Of course, we're not charging that. And these books will be available once we have them in our warehouse. And people will readily be able to get these, how can I say, very valuable treasures. Very valuable. People could say, well, you've got all these books, but the fact of the matter is, when you publish these books, they disappear into the hands of those people that are really serious about spiritual life. And these particular Bhagavatams that we're reprinting are very valuable for anyone that is a serious student and disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. If you're serious, You'll love these books just like I do. I love the Bhagavatams. I know Yaśodā loves them too. And anybody that has a set of them, they cherish them as their most valuable jewels. I used to be in the diamond industry, and I know about very beautiful jewels, but they do not come close to the jewels that you find in the Vedic teachings presented by Srila Prabhupada in his original Delhi versions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Those are to be cherished for lifetimes, and you can hand those down to your family members after you pass from this world, and they can protect them moving forward into history. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and his work. Now we'll move forward quickly. I wanted to go to the diary of Srila Prabhupada. Here we have it, in the beginning. And here's a beautiful picture of Prabhupada that I sent over to our team for the, look at that beautiful photograph of Srila Prabhupada in the early days. So serious. And we'll move into the text. We're reading the last section of a letter to Madhav Maharaj dated August 1st, 1966. So, for this cooperation program, Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do everything in complete cooperation, and thus I'm inclined to have full cooperation in this great attempt of preaching in the foreign countries. So when he's referring to Srila Prabhupada here, he's referring to his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. So cooperation. Yes, he's appealing to them. This, of course, is a very unique phenomena nowadays in this current environment. Very few people are interested in cooperating with anyone. All the camps of our various camps may at least cooperate in the matter of special activities, and I may be able to provide any number of men who may be now inclined to come here and work under my direction. There is great possibility of Lord Chaitanya's cult being preached amongst the younger section of the Americans, and some of them are hearing me very seriously to accept the philosophy. Our men in the ideal line of activities chalked out by Srila Prabhupada will be great help to me and the persons who are now seriously attending my classes. So he's building a team. Awaiting to hear from you as early as possible with the first list of names of persons who will come here from different camps. I'm asking people here to practice Krishna consciousness through music, dance, philosophy, science, religion, and distribution of prasadam. And Prabhupada called the Sankirtan mission of prasadam distribution as the kitchen religion. I'm asking them to become freed from all sorts of anxieties by practicing the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, etc., and in asking them to join the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Inc. My classes are being held thrice a week in the evening between 7 and 9 p.m. Hope you are well. So cooperation, he's requesting that. And of course, we request cooperation from our God brothers and God sisters, and we hope they join us and be part of our panel of discussion, people discussing the philosophy during these programs. It'd be great. Excerpt from an address to an Indian society in Columbus, Ohio on May 11th, 1969. So this Sankirtan movement was inaugurated in Bengal in India and in Navadvip. So in this service, the Bengalis are very fortunate that in their country, this movement was inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya. And he predicted those who are Bengalis here present, they will understand. Pritiviti achi yata nagaradi gram sarvatra prachara hoibe moranam. He predicted, as many villages and towns there are all over the world, everywhere this Sankirtan movement will be preached. This is his future prediction. So by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, this movement, already introduced in the Western countries, beginning from New York. Our first movement, the Sankirtan movement, was introduced in New York. I came in New York first, and then I began to chant this Hare Krishna mantra in the Tompkins Square Park. Is that Tompkins Park or Square? Tompkins Square, the devotee says. Tompkins Square, Prabhupada says. So I was chanting there for 3 hours with a little small mridanga, and these boys, American boys, they assembled and gradually they joined, and it is increasing. First of all, it was started in New York in a storefront, 26 2nd Avenue. Then we started our branch in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Santa Fe, and Buffalo. From here, we have now got 20 branches, including one in London and one in Hamburg. And in London, the boys, they are all American boys and girls. They are preaching. They are preaching. They are not sannyasis. Neither they are Vedantists, neither are they Hindus, neither are they Indian. Not Hindus. It's important to note that, everyone. We're not Hindus. It's not the ISKCON Hindu temple. But they have taken this movement very seriously. Here, one lady from London, she has come. She is very much praising about the movement. And in London Times, there was an article. They said, Krishna chanting startles London. So we have got many followers now. All my disciples till now, at least in the country, they are all Americans and Europeans. And he was very proud of that. Dancing white elephants, he called us. They are chanting, dancing. They are issuing paper back to Godhead. Yes, it got up to 500,000 articles, magazines per month in the heyday of the mission. Prabhupada called the Back to Godhead the backbone of this movement. It has disappeared. Now we have published so many books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita as it is, and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So I wanted to mention too that we're developing our own branch offices of our mission to promote Prabhupada's legacy. And we'll announce those in the coming weeks, the different offices that we will be opening with our very serious members who are participating on a weekly basis with our work at the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association. So thank you very much. We'll move forward with the reading and discussion led by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. And now we'll have the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajaka-Acārya Sattva Small Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Nāma-Acārya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giridharan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai, Jamuna Mai ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki Jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki Jai, all glories to their Summit. All glories to their Summit. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, from text 17 to 22, which describe the actual meaning and benefit of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Caitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Text 19. Iti na Thakur Gaudiya ki karye chenayatma sat. Iti nera charana vandan na tire morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Text 20. Grantera Rambi Karimangala Charana Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Text 21. Now, somebody asked me recently, why do you keep reading these verses? Now, this is the reason here. This is very important. Because somebody also asked, well, why do you keep reading all the word for word and all this of Caitanya-caritāmṛta? This is very important. Tinera smaraneyai vigna vinashana anayaseyai nijavan chita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text 22. Semangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesha shirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will proceed with our reading. Today we will be reading from the Adi Lila, chapter 1. I believe we are reading from, let me see, chapter 4, text 232. Atoeva kahi kichu karino nigudha, bhujibe rasika bhakta na bhujibe mudha. All synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Synonyms: Ataeva, therefore; Kahi, I speak; Kichu, something; Karina, squeezing; Nigudha, essence; Bhujibe, can understand; Rasika, humorous; Bhakta, devotees; Na, not; Bhujibe, will understand; Mudha, rascals. Translation: Therefore, I shall mention them, revealing only their essence, so that loving devotees will understand them, but fools will not. Text 233. Hridaye daraye chetana nityananda isaba siddhante sipaibe ananda. Hridaye, in the heart; daraye, captures; ye, anyone who; Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda, Isabha, all these; Siddhante, by transcendental conclusions; say, that man; Poibe, will get; Ananda, bliss. Translation: anyone who has captured Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu in his heart will become blissful by hearing all these transcendental conclusions. Text 234. Isaba siddhantoy amrira pallava bhaktagana kokilera sarvada vallabha. These, sabha, all; siddhanta, transcendental conclusions; hoy, are; amrera, of mango; pallava, twigs; bhaktagana, the devotees; kokilera, to those who are just like cuckoo birds; saravada, always; vallabha, pleasing. Translation: all these conclusions are like the newly grown twigs of a mango tree. They're always pleasing to the devotees, who in this way resemble cuckoo birds. Text 235. Abhakta ushtrerayite nahai pravesh. Tabe chitte hoy mora ananda vishesh. Abhakta non-devotee. Ushtrera of a camel. Ite in this. Na not. Haya is there. Pravesha entrance. Tabe then. Chitte in my heart. Aya there is. Mora my. Ananda Vishesha special jubilation. Translation. The camel-like non-devotees cannot enter into these topics. Therefore, there is special jubilation in my heart. Text 236. Ye lagi koite bai se yadi na jane, ya vai kaki bashu kache tribuvane, ye lagi, for the matter of which kahite baya, afraid to speak, se yadi na jane, if they do not know, ihavai, except this, kiba, what, sukha, happiness, ache, there is, tribhuvane, in the three worlds, translation. For fear of them, I do not wish to speak, but if they do not understand, then what can be happier in all the three worlds? Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sugurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhaktisiddhanta Shishyayam Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantayam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Bhagavad Vandana Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadhana Strinam Danter Idam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shatakaromi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Interesting communication from a devotee this week asking, why is it that in your program, both Vishwakarma Prabhu and my lowly self, why is it that you keep reading from these diaries of Prabhupada? Well, the answer is pretty simple. To hear and remember the activities of a pure devotee, of a Shuddha Bhakta, of a perfectly realized soul, is always beneficial. And this is recommended in all the Shastras. In the Caitanya-caritāmṛta itself, there's a very interesting verse that Prabhupada quotes many times. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrakai Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The meaning is this: simply by associating with saintly persons, realized souls, even Lavamatra, very short period of time, Sarva Siddhi, one can attain all perfection. There are many memories of different devotees who've had different experiences of encountering Srila Prabhupada, seeing Prabhupada for the first time, or hearing from his books for the first time, and immediately getting spiritually connected. Now, this is not some kind of bogus electrical connection or some kind of fanciful sentiment or some kind of emotional of sahaji or cheap devotees. This is real. This is the real association with a pure devotee. In the Bhagavatam itself, it is also said in the 9th canto, Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham. Krishna says, I am always in the heart of the saintly persons, and the saintly persons are always in my heart. They're always thinking of me. And this is the difference between a nitya siddha, an eternally liberated soul who comes from the spiritual world to deliver the conditioned souls. Because when we analyze the lives of all these great acharyas that came before Srila Prabhupada, very few of them were householders. I mean, Bhaktivedanta Thakur was a householder. Srila Prabhupada had been a householder. He took sannyas in 1959, and he moved to Vrindavan, to Jhansi first. And then he gradually started his mission of writing his Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, some of you may have done this work of going to some of these websites and look at the words my books, our books, these books, and look at all the references that Prabhupada gives concerning his books. When we carefully analyze the mission of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, there is a common thread. And it's very nicely described by two Sanskrit and Bengali words, Brihad Mridanga. Now, everybody is familiar with the Mridanga, the call, that one will play and you can hear it for 1 or 2 blocks. But Prabhupada used to often say the Brihad Mridanga, the printing press, the distribution of transcendental literature, you can hear it all over the world. Now, that Brihad Mridanga is under attack right now. Just like you know, especially those mridangas that are made of clay from Bengal, you have to be careful not to hit a wall or drop them on the cement because it might crack. They're pretty solid, but it might crack. And once it's cracked, it's never the same sound again. It is not exactly the same. So one has to take proper care. Similarly, the teachings and the instructions of a pure devotee, it has to be understood, just like in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta Dhyanta Lila, chapter 5, there is a description that whatever we hear from the pure devotee should be understood, I'm paraphrasing here, to be directly spoken by the personality of Godhead. So when we read these books, this is like Krishna telling Srila Prabhupada the purport in these books. It is not mere grammatical description. It is not mere scholarly translation. This is direct realization of a person who is directly in touch with Krishna himself from Goloka Vrindavan. Just like everybody here is familiar, Prabhupada used to often quote that the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's been described by Narottam Das Thakur. Prabhupada used to quote this very often, Golokera Premadhana Harinama Samkirtana. That this chanting is directly from the spiritual world. Similarly, these literatures that Prabhupada has given, now we're referring to the non-edited, non-polluted, non-interpolated, non-adulterated books, not these nonsense changes all over the place. No, that is not acceptable. We've often discussed this as part of our discussion in these programs, how these two Vaishnava Sampradayas, all the Vaishnava Sampradayas, but particularly the oldest Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Sri Vaishnavas, as well as the Madhva Sampradaya, they have their original commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, also named Brahma Sutra. And after these great acharyas, there are other acharyas who commented on these commentaries. But no one has ever touched the original commentary, trying to adjust some Sanskrit word, trying to delete something, trying to make some grammatical embellishment. No, that is not allowed. Not allowed. They have respect for their original acharya. This is very important, because when we study Srimad Bhagavatam, as we have seen in Canto 1, Chapter 4, Text 1, there is description that all the great sages of Naimisharanya, they assembled and they were praising Sutta Goswami, that he was a very fit person to describe the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in a purport, Prabhupada describes no one should be willing to hear from one who does not represent the original acharya. Now, some may object that Prabhupada never described himself as the original acharya of our sampradaya, but he is the original acharya of his society, of his movement. That cannot be denied. Now, some envious person may criticize that he was just Swami Maharaj and he just came to the right place at the right time. Well, that may be their opinion, their misguided, unfortunate idea. But those who have seen and understood Prabhupada's teaching, that Prabhupada was more than just a sadhu who came at the right place at the right time. He was an empowered representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the ambassador of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to bring the auspicious teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the Sankirtan movement to the whole world. That is why these readings of a few selected portions from these dairas are so important, to understand the pure devotee, the Paramamsa. What does that mean to be a Paramamsa? Anybody who knows the situation in New York in those days, in the Bowery, in those areas, and the conditions that Prabhupada was living, it is astounding that he was able to do what he did. He was completely transcendental. As people on this program might know, when you become a little more advanced in age, the body starts to give a little trouble. That's predicted by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha iti darshanam. That one who is intelligent, intelligence means to understand the miseries of birth, janma, mrityu, death, jara, old age and disease. One who can see the fault in this and who acts on the spiritual platform, that is intelligence. Not merely to build an airplane, to build a skyscraper, to build an atomic bomb. Okay, that is nice material intelligence. Actual spiritual intelligence means how to associate with the bona fide acharya. That's why in the Chandogya Upanishad it is stressed, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. My good friend Bhakta Ram Singh in Sacramento, every time he would talk to me, he would quote that verse and refer to Prabhupada, the acharya. If we remember the acharya, then everything becomes auspicious. We will understand everything properly. That is why the reading of these diaries is so important. When Gargamuni and Brahmananda visited me in Badger, California in 1993, they had a great array of different literatures that they have. Translation of Ame Bhakti Ratnakar. They had all different kinds of beautiful English translation of special Gaudiya literatures. And they had those diaries. I said, I want those. This is very precious, very important. All these conversations with Srila Prabhupada, extremely important. These books, Prabhupada, if you study the word, you put the words my books in any of these search engines like the Veda-based, the Folio, or the PrabhupadaBooks.com. There are so many letters from Srila Prabhupada to his disciples about the importance of his books, the meaning of his books, the potency of his books. Prabhupada said one time, our whole movement is depending on these books. Our whole position is resting on these books. And Prabhupada says, I'm just presenting the message. Prabhupada was very humble. But how can you be such an elderly person, only sleeping 2 hours at night, and write these transcendental books after traveling all around the world? I mean, this is absolutely incredible. This is a superhuman. This is not an ordinary person. And anybody who thinks or writes, oh, Prabhupada was like a derelict in the street, he did not know, he was ashamed, he was cold, he was bewildered, so many foolish descriptions, nonsensical descriptions by some so-called biographers, completely bewildered. One should never think of the Acharya in a materialist. This is forbidden. In the Padma Purana, there is clear description that one should never think of the form of Lord Vishnu. Arche Vishnu Shiladihi, Gurushu Naramatihi, Yasyave Narakisa. That if you think that the Acharya is just like an ordinary human, an ordinary person, then you're a Naraki, you're a candidate for the lower regions. One has to develop spiritual intelligence and not think, oh, I saw Prabhupada, I met Prabhupada, I went on morning walks with Prabhupada. Well, that's nice. That's good of you. That's very good. That was his mercy and his good fortune that he allowed so many devotees who were most unqualified to become close to him. But Prabhupada warned, we know this warning in different lectures, familiarity breeds contempt. One should not be familiar with the Acharya, get too close to the Acharya or the deity. One has to be very careful. One foolish person in 1977 made a comment in a whisper, oh, Prabhupada wants to be engaged in some spiritual activity. When I saw that, I said, is this example of madness or what? Talk about foolishness. Do you think Prabhupada was ever engaged in any activity other than spiritual? You're so foolish that you think Prabhupada was engaged in material activity sometime and then spiritual activity? This is why Prabhupada warned, don't get too close to the spiritual master. That's why we have to learn to hear, to submissively hear from the Acharya. And that is irrelevant whether somebody has physically met Prabhupada, went on morning walks with Prabhupada, got letters from Prabhupada. That is completely irrelevant. Somebody may have never met Prabhupada and yet be very closely connected to Prabhupada, have perfectly understood his teachings, perfectly following his instructions. Don't be bewildered thinking, oh, so many senior devotees. We've often discussed this. So why is it that historically so many senior devotees in the post-1937 Gaudiya Math and the post-1977 ISKCON Math, why is it that some of them have become so many senior nonsense and deviants? And in many instances, debauchees. How can you explain that? You got the association with Prabhupada. You were close to him. You went on morning walks with him. You got your letters from him, but you did not hear submissively. We have to learn to hear submissively without personal ambition. Why did Lord Chaitanya, in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, all these instructions to Rupa Goswami, you study every single line. How many warnings are there by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada in his purports about this disease of pratishta? Name, fame, power, profit, adoration, distinction, so many nonsense. The whole fundamental approach to Vaishnavism has been nicely described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's no bewilderment here. It's simple. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, Kavitam vajagadisha kamaye. I don't want any followers or beautiful women or wealth or become a famous poet. Of course, nowadays, it's not just beautiful women. Some are looking after young boys and young underage girls. That is unfortunate, but that is the reality of the history that we have to deal with. This has to be dealt with. You can't sweep it under the rug and claim, oh, we've had a reform. Well, all these so-called reforms did not amount to much, is it? Nobody will trust the nonsense unless the complete surrender to Srila Prabhupada. As part of this program, we've often said at some point in history, you will see Prabhupada will become the exclusive Acharya worship in ISKCON. All obeisances will be exclusively paid to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The offering of Bhogat will be offered the proper way to Srila Prabhupada. The Vyasa Puja in this movement would only be offered to His Divine Grace. And so many other reforms will take place. Or it will take some time. There's still a lot of that nonsense profit adoration distinction that's got to be cleaned out, that have got to be swept out. And the reason it's not sinking in is people do not hear submissively from Prabhupada. They become puffed up. They become arrogant. They think, oh, I was with Prabhupada. I know so much. Oh, really? Then why did you deviate so much? So many people have asked me in private conversations or private emails, why did this happen? Why did Krishna allow this to happen? Well, Krishna is not going to interfere with your independence. You think Krishna is going to force you? Krishna is going to force you to behave one way or another? Look in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna described to Arjuna the entire science of Bhakti Yoga. In the 18th chapter, it says, now you've heard everything from me. Now you can choose. Yate chasi tata kuru. You've heard everything. I've given you the teachings. I've given you the instruction. Now you decide what you're going to do. Same instruction from Prabhupada. The decision is up to us, his followers, his students, his disciples, and so-called leaders. You have to make a decision. Are you going to choose to emphasize yourself in the name of Prabhupada or emphasize Prabhupada and his pure teachings? So many people say, oh, they are preaching. Well, what are you preaching? Why are you inventing new mantras? Why are you introducing so many nonsense practices that were not given by the authorized Acharya Srila Prabhupada? If you say you're preaching, you cannot invent and manufacture your own way of preaching and following. You cannot manufacture your own way of following Prabhupada. You have to follow Prabhupada the way that Prabhupada wanted to be followed. And the first thing he wanted is do not spoil the teachings. Do not change his teachings. Do not pollute them with your own grammatical embellishment program. Don't nonsense ideas. Just like Vishwakarma Prabhu described, they have seen the truth. Oh, really? They have seen the truth? Why is it that early on in 1978, when some of us tried to discuss with some of these leaders, the first reaction was, oh, you're all envious. Oh, really? Everybody is envious because they're asking you relevant questions? Because they're raising concerns about things you're saying that we never heard before, about so-called successors, material and spiritual successors? And then it escalated a little bit more. Threats of beating, threats of assassination, till the point that one devotee was assassinated, Sulochan Das, the first martyr in the history of ISKCON. If they're so convinced of their position, why don't you debate it publicly and show the whole world how you were appointed, this was your term, as a so-called successor, when, where, and how? And what to speak of the long list of questionable behaviors of some of these so-called successors. We'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. I wanted to go back, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, to text 234. and 235 from today's verses, where Krishna Das Kaviraj is saying all these conclusions are like the newly grown twigs of mango trees. They are always pleasing to the devotees, who in this way resemble cuckoo birds. The camel-like devotees cannot enter into these topics. Therefore, there is special jubilation in my heart. So there are specific qualifications for people to understand Krishna consciousness. It is a step-by-step process of purification and discipline. So Prabhupada introduced the process of discipline. Actually, disciple means discipline. So Prabhupada had undertaken in the early years of the mission to train the animal-like people that were joining the mission how to become human beings, how to overcome the material modes of nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Most people are raised in the modes of passion and ignorance in this society because that's all people knew. The mode of goodness, somewhat understood, but not much. But sometimes people think, oh, I can just jump ahead. I'll become a lover of Krishna just by chanting once or reading one of the books. All of a sudden I become enlightened. And Prabhupada talks in a lecture that I was recently listening to that one should not jump to Jugala Priti, the pastimes of Krishna in the rasa dance. This is a big mistake for the neophyte devotee. One has to go step by step through the process of devotional service, just like Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavatam, that you start at the first canto and you read that's the lotus feet. And then gradually you move up through the various cantos to get to the 10th canto by gradual study and practice of devotional service. People want things that are cheap. Well, Krishna is not cheap, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, as you know. It's not that you can just automatically jump to the Jugala Priti platform and think that now you've become a gopi. This is a mistake. And a lot of people, even his godbrothers, Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, in the Gaudiya Math, some of the preachers there, they said that Prabhupada did not provide the deeper meanings of bhakti yoga to his disciples. And after Prabhupada's departure, they came here to the West and started to preach this philosophy that they understand the higher truths of bhakti yoga, not Srila Prabhupada. Very offensive. And why do they do that? Because they never read Prabhupada's books. That's the first thing. I've tried to read some of these Gaudiya Math books personally. I have a large collection that were given to me, and I look at them and try to look at the contents, and I find them pale in comparison to Prabhupada's depth in his translations and explanations of Krishna consciousness according to his spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And when you read the Caitanya-caritāmṛta Prabhus, you'll see that many of the purports are begun with the words, my spiritual master Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur explained this verse in this particular way. So Prabhupada was diligent in repeating what he heard from his spiritual master. And he understood the art of public speaking. The art of public speaking, which is to repeat without interpretation any change in the teachings he received from his spiritual master. This is called understand tattvavit, Guru tattvavit, understanding the truth of the matter by repeating what you heard from your spiritual master, not by concoction. The fact of the matter is, and Prabhupada did mention this many times, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that there was much trouble in the GBC group and our godbrothers in the past because they were not reading the books. So because they're not connected with Prabhupada on this intimate level, one-on-one with their spiritual master, they could not understand what Prabhupada was trying to teach us, how to go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. And that is possible through bhakti yoga. Yoga means to link with, so we're linking with Krishna through the transparent via media of the spiritual master. That Krishna is speaking through the pure devotee to his disciples. This is the relationship. And it is a very important principle, everyone, to understand. It is not just another point. It is the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness, is to hear from the pure devotee, not from anyone that's preaching Jugala Priti. Oh, all of a sudden you become this very advanced person that can understand the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. This is Sahajiism. And Sahajiism is a very deep disease that has entered into our sampradaya, where people are pretending, posing, and posturing as so-called great devotees in the intimate pastimes with Lord Chaitanya. You jump over the guru and you become this new incarnation of the Lord. Imitate the way Lord Chaitanya danced. Oh, just see. Some people can see it, others don't. Well, why? Because they don't have the eyes to see it. They don't understand this philosophy, yet they claim to be advanced. They have no experience in practicing it practically. I always say this to people. Do these people that claim to be guru know how to cook? No. They have people cook for them. Oh, I only eat organic basmati brown rice. Thank you very much. Make sure you cook that for me. Oh, I don't know how to chant, but someone else can chant. I can't sing or play. Prabhupada was an expert musician, as everyone knows here. Phenomenal. He could cook. He could chant. He could play all his mridanga and harmonium. He was expert in playing the kartal. He was an expert singer. Why? Because empowered by Lord Chaitanya, empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the via transparent medium. Do any of these people know how to distribute one book? Did they ever go out to O'Hare Airport and sell books in the corridors there? No. They sat back at their office and talked on the phone and gave the bills to the temple president. Here, pay this bill for me. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to chant. I don't know how to distribute books. I don't know how to give a lecture. But I'm a pure devotee. Oh yeah. Pure fraud. I recently had a conversation, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, with a devotee from Edmonton, Ontario, or Alberta. And he said, I met my so-called Diksha guru. I couldn't understand one word he said when he spoke in the class. Not one word. How is this that someone is empowered? They can't chant. They don't know how to distribute books. They don't know how to perform all of these wonderful talents of a devotee, and yet they claim to be a pure devotee. It is self-evident that they aren't, that this is a fraud, a total fraud. And now people are criticizing some of us. They call us Ritviks. Oh yeah, thank you very much. We're Ritviks. Well, how about dissenter? Not Ritvik. How about a dissenter? Now, all of you, you may know about dissension. There are lots of people that are dissenters, like in franchises. For example, and this is a franchising of the holy name, but in the material world, in franchising, one of the most important things, Krishna Kata, in running a franchise system is this: you deal with all dissenters carefully. They have a whole department in the franchise system that deals with dissenters, with people that complain, because they have to get rid of those complaints and satisfy the dissenters so that the franchise will continue to flourish, not be minimized. That's what happens when dissension enters into an organization and it's not dealt with properly, like in the case of ISKCON. That's what happened to this movement, everyone. If you say anything which isn't according to the party line, if you're not compromised in terms of your behavior, if you're interested in a job, then you better not say anything against the status quo. Don't say it. For example, in Vrindavan these days, there are 400 paid employees that run the Krishna Balaram Mandir. What do you think Prabhupada would think of that, Krishna Kata? If he heard that there were 400 people just in that one temple getting paid. In England, there are hundreds of people under salary. And I've heard that the president there, a lady, receives over 100,000 pounds for being the president of that organization. Is that Krishna conscious ashram, or is that a Krishna conscious business? Wake up, sleeping souls. You want to criticize dissenters? That's a mistake. You should embrace dialogue. You should embrace the philosophy and discussion with other God brothers, not minimize, banish. And as Yaśodā mentioned, even physically punish them for their opinions. Like Ron Singh was beaten 2 weeks ago in Sacramento because he objected to the adulterated books by Jayadvaita, and he also objected to the so-called bogus guru system that new people are forced to accept despite their reluctance because they just don't see it in reality. These people are posing, posturing, and pretending this great philosophy for the sake of name and fame. Yes, it is. And this is absolutely nothing that we will accept ever. Ever. Because it's against the principles of our teachings from Srila Prabhupada to all of us. Oh, well, people will say, well, you're so fanatical. Well, wait a minute. That fanaticism is not what we are about. We are seekers of the truth. We are explaining the truth for the benefit of other people, because this is how you preserve a legacy. You don't change a legacy by changing the philosophy. Not one word. Not from he has seen the truth to they. Why did they say they, Krishna Kata? Because they're trying to justify that they are in the disciplic succession from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is just not right. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
Well, these are very important points, and devotees can take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, take shelter of his books, his instructions, and his writings, and then all of these things will get clarified. And for those who chose to remain bewildered or remain in ignorance, well, that is their choice. But Prabhupada is advocating that people should understand, read his books carefully, study his books, and then people will understand the philosophy. They will understand how to deal with issues. I mean, I keep reading this discussion, that it's a discussion that took place between Shyamasundar Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada when he was discussing the spread of communism. This is from the book Dialectical Spiritualism. And Prabhupada was saying, similarly, I say that your theory is also imperfect. Therefore, it will fail. Anything imperfect will fail. That is my proposition. Revati Nandana. His propaganda is that it is perfect because it made the Chinese people propaganda. By propaganda, you can do anything. That is different thing. But fact is fact. If your theory is not perfect, you make however propaganda, it will fail. Later on in the conversation, Prabhupada says, by philosophy, you give something which will not create any conflict. But by conflict, by crushing, by subduing, if you want to establish your peace, then what is the value of this peace? Shyamasundar, he says, we also have to prevent foreign intervention. If your theory is perfect, why there should be foreign intervention? So the point is that we've seen in our movement is banning, beating, suing, restricting people, striking people. This kind of nonsense behavior is a sign that it is not based on truth. It is based on falsehood and false propaganda. Very, very important. And we see that some of the leaders in our movement, they will ask questions in front of the deities and say, oh, this deity worship, I never understood. This is not my thing. What do you mean deity worship is never understood? You have no brains to understand this is Krishna manifesting out of his mercy to accept your service? And you're pretending to be a guru? What kind of guru are you? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very interesting points, and meant to give us a clear understanding of who we are and what we are doing here, protecting Prabhupada's legacy in the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. I wanted to call upon Janis Priya, who is in Hawaii, and maybe he could share some insights based on his experiences of being a devotee for the last 45 years. Janis Priya, please.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Aloha. Yes,
Aloha.
very, very nice talk as always. Our Prabhupada's greatest gift to us is his books. So protecting these books for the future is very, very important. And I'm pretty enthused about the printing of these Bhagavatam sets. So it's going to help a lot of us that were sleeping to wake up and go and wake up other people. And we're so fortunate that Prabhupada gave us. Not only did he give us Krishna, but he gave us the opportunity to give Krishna to others in whatever way we can. You know, there's example of Sarasvati that she will ask somebody, you know, Sarasvati was Shyamasundara's daughter, 3-year-old, and she'll ask somebody, you know who Krishna is? And they will say, no. I say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada was so pleased, just by simple preaching. So if we could preach to one person or say Hare Krishna to somebody or take a little pamphlet or magazine wherever we go and leave it on a bus bench or at the doctor's office. I just talked to the devotee that she told me that's how she got in touch with Prabhupada. She went to her doctor and there was a easy journey, or there was a pamphlet. So this is very important to contribute this way. So we're all should do the best that we can, but never be satisfied with what we're doing, because Prabhupada did so much. And me personally, I'm doing practically nothing. So pray for me so I could get into the game. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada, thank you. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you could share some of your comments and realizations this evening.
Hare Krishna, wait. There we go, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, I felt like Lord Sringade was giving class today. It was pretty powerful. And I was thinking about this concept of, hard for me to believe somebody would complain about the word for word. It's such a natural thing. And I kind of thought myself, the word for word helps us to increase our understanding of authenticity and scholarship of the text and the deep meaning. And Prabhupada, he gave this format, and I don't think he would give even the word for word meanings if he didn't want us to read it, at least some of the times. And personally, in my own personal readings, sometimes I read it and sometimes I don't. But when I do, I generally get some kind of a great encouragement. Like I was reading Bhagavad Gita, and it says, Dadami Buddha Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayanti Te. And if we kind of follow the word for word, Dadami Buddha Yogam, it's almost the same as Bhakti Yoga. That Krishna gives us this a great knowledge and encouragement and inspiration. Dadami Buddha Yogam Tam, if we read it, it gives us some kind of deep understanding and faith that all these words have some meaning in our lives. Mm-hmm. So I just had a small comment. Thank you.
Haribo, thank you very much. Krishna Kata in Sacramento, in San Diego, California.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu's another amazing discourse that is just so precious to everyone that will get the chance to listen in on YouTube if they're not live right now on Zoom. I'd like to just make one point and drive it home. Circle back to what you said, Vishwakarma, about taking a salary. So this money that is donated to the hundi, to the donation box, or collected as a result of distribution of books or prasadam, however, is coming from the jiva soul that is giving it with love. Now it's going to some jiva soul that we don't know the fate of that Lakshmi. We don't know the behavior of that soul that is receiving it. So there's some karma being created here. This is gravely forbidden. Srila Prabhupada has a wonderful example. Lalitanath told me that he personally witnessed, he was standing next to Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in the early 70s, New Dwarka. And when Prabhupada heard that there was a handful of devotees receiving a salary, he became infuriated. He said, this has to stop immediately. This will spoil everything. So if anyone is receiving a salary, that is directly an offense to our spiritual master. You should stop immediately. That's my comment. That's the truth. That's the Acharya speaking through Lalitanath and to me, because he personally heard it. And it makes sense. It becomes a business. I worked with business people and earned a salary. It's a business. And Prabhupada did not establish a business. It's a pure preaching movement with the books as the basis. That's my comment. I mean, it's sad. This is Krishna Balaram's mandir. It's just sad. In every way you can imagine, it's just sad. It has to be stopped.
Well, you know, the one thing is that we are looking forward to the future for all of us, because we do have a wonderful group of devotees that are assembling online and practicing Krishna consciousness in their particular areas throughout the world. In fact, we're compiling a list of branch offices of devotees that people in their areas can reach and discuss philosophy with them based on the pure teachings of Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master. Very positive. In other words, a lot of people are isolated. They're on their own. They have no association. A lot of people are in touch with us. They're thanking us for these classes. They're thanking us for our efforts, like Janis Priya mentioned, for taking up this project of publishing the Delhi Bhagavatams and working on a program for distribution through our global network. Prabhupada mentioned about cooperation, Prabhus. This is something that practically does not exist in the ISKCON mission. In fact, there is an organization in Atlanta started by one of our God brothers, and it's called Krishna Life. Has nothing to do with ISKCON. In fact, the leader of it, he said that they should just automatically accept now that the movement has been segregated or divided into different sectarian groups. This guru, that guru, my guru's better than your guru, this guru, that guru. Can you imagine, Yaśodā mentioned Krishna Katha today, if Prabhupada had been kept at the center of this mission and everybody was working together cooperatively to see Prabhupada's books distributed and understood by others as the sole source of information, how amazing this movement would be?
Yes.
It did not happen.
No, it didn't.
And this is a reality of it. Look, myself and Yaśodā have been devotees for over 50 years, each of us. And in 50 years, look where it's gone. Well, someone could say, well, look at all the big temples in India. Okay, well, that's one thing. But what about the temples in America, in Canada, that are empty? We have a $45 million building in Toronto, up from the Parliament buildings, that Prabhupada called the topmost triumph from Krishna, and it is empty. Oh, sure, people come on Sunday to get prasadam. Oh, yeah. Free food. Everybody wants free lunch. But is that the purpose of Krishna consciousness, to get a free lunch? Everybody to become a kirtan rock star? Get up on stage with tattoos and earrings and long hair, cultured sikas, fancy tilak, and chant Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo. Is that our business? Become a kirtan rock star? It's going on. And it's accepted. Not only is it going on, it's expanding, especially into the Hindu community. So that's why you're seeing some of these people, the fellow out in Berkeley, in Silicon Valley. I saw a post today. He's promoting Tulsi Gabbard. He wrote a whole thing about her. Oh, I would like her to be successful, of course. I have no issue with that. But is this the business of a bona fide spiritual master? To enter into the political arena and promote a candidate? Oh, you should become the president? No. Prabhupada was very, very careful in presenting Krishna consciousness as our focus and not enter the political arena. It's not our business. People that do, this is not a proper understanding of this philosophy that he taught us. We should remain transcendental warriors in distributing the truth to the conditioned souls that are in the cycle, dharma bhavana, of birth and death. This is a diseased society, a Kali Yuga madhouse, a world of insanity, a world of mass confusion, and a world of simply birth and death. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who has died, and within very short time, birth will be certain. This is a Krishna conscious welfare work that we're interested in, nothing else. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
The point that you're raising while you were discussing, I put up a few things in the chat section about this salary business.
Yes.
And you were raising a very important point. We all came to this movement on a voluntary basis. We gave our youth to Prabhupada. We gave our service to Prabhupada. This was not a business. This was not a business that we conducted with Prabhupada. Prabhupada was not a merchant. He was the Acharya, showing how to develop love of God, how to preach the mission of Lord Chaitanya. What has happened now, this society has been transformed into a guru business, a money-making business, unfortunately. And devotees have to see through this. This society no longer represents the original teachings of Prabhupada. And the salary business is one of the examples of it. The beating of devotees is another example of it. The harassment of devotees is another example of it. Devotees should not be confused. The Krishna consciousness movement will revive, will eventually spread all over the world. That has been predicted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the group of the guru business cartel will not last. It will eventually dissolve, because this was not the mission of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to exploit peoples. There's plenty of caste Brahmins, Sahajiyas, caste Goswamis who conduct the same guru business in India. We don't need this in this movement. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Ron Singh, are you with us still? I don't know. He could be traveling on the road. Maybe
I'm here.
You could mention about the GoFundMe program for us to end up the program, and then we'll move forward with the kirtan.
Yes, lots of devotees have donated from worldwide. We have reached a little over $25,000, over 90 donations. So thank you to all the devotees who have donated. I have also mailed gratitude packages to devotees, 9 devotees so far. They've gotten the Prabhupada Siddhanta book and Prabhupada's audio library of all of Prabhupada's audio recordings. So that's a little token of appreciation from us. And we're still having that campaign going on. So if you like, please donate to the printing of Srila Prabhupada's original daily edition Srimad Bhagavatam. And the class, simply wonderful class today. We covered a lot of points. Acharyavan Purusho Veda, it's a very simple philosophy. Take shelter of the Acharya, read his original books, and implement the instructions in your life, and you'll see you'll advance in Krishna consciousness. That has been my personal experience, and many devotees who've participating here, that's their experience. So it's a guaranteed process to make advancement. Follow Srila Prabhupada, follow his instructions, associate with devotees here, and then you'll see, oh yes, this Krishna consciousness is a very wonderful process. It's a joyful process. There's no confusion here. Who's the guru or what books we should read? Everything is very, very clear. So once again, thank you very much to all the hosts who have been making the program possible. It's a great, wonderful weekly discussion. I look forward to this every day, actually. We communicate, Yaśodā-nandana, Vishwakarma, Krishna Katha. We keep in contact with the devotees, with the programs, and how we can make things better. So if you have any suggestions, please contact us. We always want to make this program better and make it expand in every town and village. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And I see that Angela V. got his package yesterday, and he thanks us. Thank you, Ron Singh, for doing this. And Ron Singh is also funding the sending of these packages by mail. We have over 70 packages that we'll be sending out, along with the other sets of Bhagavatams and books that we are in the process of getting printed. And this will be a celebration for everyone once this particular project is complete. And guess what? After that, we'll do more. Step by step, we will continue to build this mission to protect Prabhupada's legacy and reestablish his mission globally through our wonderful network of devotees that are following this program with us together and cooperating sincerely to make it a success. It is your participation that is giving us the enthusiasm to keep this going. Yes, we could all give it up. I've got lots to do in my life. I do, really do. Most of you don't know who I am. That's okay. I'm not here to talk about it. But Yaśodā knows, Krishna, a lot of people. We have lots of things we can do, but the best thing we can do is dovetail our talents and abilities in the service of Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya, because that will reap the highest rewards in the human form of life. This is a great opportunity, everyone. And so let us take advantage of it while we can. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward, Vinkat Bhatta, to the chanting of Hare Krishna with Prabhupada, hopefully playing that wonderful bongo. In those early days, he didn't even have a mridanga. He played the bongo, but he was expert. It sounds fantastic. The bongo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. We offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for
Hare Krishna.
participating. We will see all of you on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Canada time. And we hope that everything goes well. Thanks everybody for donating to the campaign to reprint the Srimad Bhagavatam. And kindly forgive me, I've been out of contact with the phone, having a little fight with the insurance company. That will be resolved soon. I know I've got a lot of good wishes from many people to try to reactivate my phone. So thanks everybody. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Caitanya